In 2013, in the summer, BMW M called me and asked me if I could come at the Nordschleife to come and say what I think about the car and help a little bit in the development of the car. So I was very happy, very proud that BMW M asked me to do that. I used to develop race cars, but one of my first experience developing road cars. So I was very, very proud and happy and went there and did the first lap. And after the first lap, the engineers, they asked me what do I think about the car. And I mean, I was so impressed. There was not much negative I could say about the car. You know, the steering wheel electronic is very precise, very progressive. The turbos give you torque anywhere you need. The carbon brakes are just amazing. You can brake so late and they stay so consistent, you know. So the only thing really I could find a little bit was something in the tires. I think at that time the tires were not adapted to the car, but that's normal, you know, it was a development car still. So they were a little bit too soft on the sidewalls, but you know, they did a great job changing these tires after we talked about it, and the tires are now perfect, suiting the car. The car is just the dream to drive on the track. It goes where you want to go, it drifts where you want to drift, so it's just as it should be, and even as a racing driver you get impressed about it, you know.
On the track here at Kyalami, the cars are beautiful. I drove them in 3 different modes. The first mode is kind of your everyday mode, you know, comfort. You could have your mom at the back of the car and she wouldn't notice that you'd be driving an M3 or an M4. But as you progress along into sort of the sportier modes, then the car feels very, very taut, very direct, and the steering is very, very nice, and the engine throttle response is very, very quick. So it feels a little bit more like a race car.
We are trying to have our race cars as light as possible, and you know, trying to translate that on the road cars, which is not easy because you have a lot of things you have to put in a road car for the rules. So, you know, working with lightweight is definitely one thing. Carbon brakes, we have carbon brakes. These cars have now carbon ceramic brakes. As well as aerodynamics, you know, aerodynamics, the more aerodynamic the car is, the less fuel consumption you will have, and the better top speed you will have. So, you know, that's all things we are working and developing to the limit on a racing car, which you can translate on a certain scale, of course, to a road car.
Well, I think the styling is very aerodynamic. There's a lot of power in it, just in terms of the broadness of the flanks of the car, the power bulges on the bonnet of both the M3 and the M4. And I like the new colours that have been introduced to the range. The one that I enjoyed driving more was the M3. There's a defined sportiness about the car that really comes through when you use Sport Plus, all the different electronic driving modes.
A good car performs well everywhere. So the M3, M4 is definitely an amazing car, so it just performs on any kind of track. This track is the first time I'm driving it, so I'm really enjoying it. It's very challenging, has a lot of fast corners, slow corners, hard braking zones. You know, it's a very interesting track, and I mean, for this car, it's great. You know, I did a few laps now, and I really enjoy it. But you know, it just suits the car perfectly, and it's amazing to drive here. I'm very happy to be here.
I don't think, you know, people are going to complain, oh, it's $1 million for a 3 Series. It's actually not a 3 Series. If you look at the underpinnings, what's underneath, all the action and all the little bits and pieces that make it an M car, make it worth the while.
At the touch of a button, you can have race car suspension on a car that you can still use to drive to the office. There are very few cars you can do that with.